Kopidana Balaba Grivadari Jaya Grivadari 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 Soranandana Radharanjana Jaya Radharanjana Soranandana Radharanjana Jaya Radharanjana Soranandana Radharanjana Jaya Radharanjana Yamuna Tiravarachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Yamuna Tiravarachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Kopidana Balaba Grivadari Jaya Grivadari Kopidana Balaba Grivadari Jaya Grivadari Kopidana Balaba Grivadari Jaya Grivadari Sodanandana Raja Janaranjana Shaya Raja Janaranjana Sodanandana Raja Janaranjana Jaya Raja Janaranjana Yamunadhiravachari Jaya Kunja Vihari Yamunadhiravachari Jaya Kunja Vihari Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari Jayam Vishnupad Paramahams Brahmadacharya Asadhar Sadushi Sriman His Divine Grace Shalasi Bhaktivedanta Swami Raj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Gaur Premanande Haribo Glorious to the sound devotees all glorious to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Tenamane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Vacharane Nirvishesha Shnivade Paskadyade Sakarane Om Agyan Timirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chaksur Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaya Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shigaro Shiyuta Parakamalam Shigaram Vaishnavam Scha Shirupam Sagudatam Sahagana Rakanatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Prajana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shiva Sakanzvitamscha Hey Krishna Karna Sindho Dinabando Jagapate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Prashubhanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakapa Trivyacha Kripa Sindhuvyevacha Patidanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Pranitananda Shadvaiti Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 12, Dhruva Maharaj goes back to Godhead, text 46. Shrutva etat Sharaya Abhikshanam Achuta Priya Chestitam Bhavet Bhakti Bhagavati Yaya Syat Klesha Sanshaya Shudvai Tradya Bhikshnam Achuta Priya Chestitam Bhavat Bhaktir Bhagavati Yasyat Klesha Sanshaya Shrutvai Tatscharaya Dikshnam Achuta Priya Chestitam Bhavat Bhaktir Bhagavati Yasyat Klesha Sanshaya Vaitascharya Bhikshnam Achuya Priya Chestitam Bhavat Bhaktir Bhagavati Yasyat Klesha Sanshaya. Ladies, Shudvaitatcharya Bhikshnam Achuta Priya Chestitam Bhavat Bhaktir Bhagavati Yasyat Klesha Sankshayaha Shudva by hearing Etat this Shradaya with faith Abhikshnam repeatedly Achuta to the Supreme Personality of Godhead Priya dear Chestitam activities Bhavet develops Bhakti devotion Bhagavati unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yaya, by which Syat must be, Klesha of miseries, Sangshaya, complete diminution. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Anyone who hears the narration of Dhruva Maharaj and who repeatedly tries with faith and devotion to understand his pure character attains a pure devotional platform and executes pure devotional service. By such activities, one can diminish the threefold miserable conditions of material life. Please repeat. Anyone who hears the narrations of Dhruva Maharaj and who repeatedly tries with faith and devotion to understand his pure character, attains a pure devotional platform and executes pure devotional service. By such activities, one can diminish the threefold miserable conditions of material life. Purport. Here the word Achyuta Priya is very significant. Dhruva Maharaj's character and reputation are great because he is very dear to Achyuta, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As the pastimes and activities of the Lord are pleasing to hear, hearing about his devotees who are very dear to the Supreme Person is also pleasing and potent. One simply reads over and over again about Dhruva Maharaj. By hearing and reading this chapter, one can obtain the highest perfection of life in any way he desires. Most importantly, he gets a chance to become a great devotee. Become a great devotee means to finish all miserable conditions of material life, materialistic life. Shudvaitatscharya bhikshnam achyuta priya chestitam bhavet bhaktira bhagavati yasyat klesha sangshaya. Anyone who hears the narration of Dhruva Maharaj and repeatedly tries with faith and devotion to understand his pure character, attains a pure devotional platform, and executes pure devotional service. By such activities, one can diminish the threefold miserable conditions of material life. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Srinivadi Paskadyade Satarne. It is said that there are two different energies. There's the spiritual energy and then there's material energy. And it remains with us which energy we want to be under. But we have to be under some energy. So our free will consists in either orientating our desires towards the ignorant misconception of identifying ourselves with the gross and subtle bodies, and therefore naturally be carried away by the waves of material desire and sense gratification. Or we can identify ourselves as a servant of Krishna's servants, and therefore take shelter under the internal energy of Krishna. As Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Mahatmanas tumam parata, daivim prakritim ashritya, bhajantyananya manaso, gyatva bhutadim avyam. Those who are Mahatmas, great souls, are under the protection of the divine energy. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, are original and inexhaustible. The more we become conscious of Krishna and his name, his form, his quality, his associates, then the more we come under the shelter of the internal energy of Krishna, the Ladini, specifically Ladini and Sandini potencies of Krishna. Samvit and Ladini. Samvit means the knowledge-giving potency, which makes us conscious. And the other is Ladini potency, which is the bliss potency. That if we want to be under that potency, then Krishna allows us. And if we want to be under the material energy, Krishna allows us that also. Because the material nature has varieties. We can be under the mode of ignorance or the mode of passion or the mode of goodness. Sometimes people think that passion is better than ignorance or that goodness is better than passion, etc. And therefore people are changing from one mode to another. Rajas tama vibhuya sattvam bhavati bharata rajas sattvam tamaschaiva tamas sattvam rajas tata. Sometimes the mode of goodness defeats ignorance and passion, and sometimes passion defeats ignorance and goodness, and someday ignorance defeats passion and goodness. And this way there's always a competition for supremacy. Because there's material variety in the material world, either we can suffer a little bit or we can suffer a lot, depending what we want to do. Therefore, we think that sometimes we're making progress as we come to the higher levels of materialistic conditioning, which is one sense progress, but unless one knows what the goal of such progress is, then it's like a Ferris wheel. Sometimes one is on the top, and then the Ferris wheel keeps on going down, and then one is on the bottom again, and then eventually the Ferris wheel goes on the top again. So the conditioned soul is revolving in 8,400,000 species of life, sometimes imagining that one is very elevated, and sometimes, of course, everyone thinks that they're elevated. Even the worm in the stool is thinking he has the best position in the universe. Everything is free, is always fresh. It supports my whole family without any endeavor. So everyone is thinking they have a good position in the material world. Even in the most abominable species of life, one is thinking he's doing all right. Therefore, people are reluctant to get out of the material world due to a delusion caused by the modes of nature. Because they think, why should I give up such a good position to accept some position which is unknown? Therefore, one has to practice coming under the spiritual energy. It is not that we'll one day decide to go to the spiritual world, send an email message to Vaikuntha, they send a plane down, pick us up. We have to develop the desire, as Krishna says, to obtain Krishna consciousness. The whole idea of Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti is to develop our desire through experience, through practice and experience. Sadatam, and what is that practice? Sadatam kirtiyanto mam. To always glorify Krishna. Sadatam kirtiyanto mam. Yatantas chadridavrata. And to try to steady our service. Be steadily. Namasyantas mam bhaktya. But to do it with a humble attitude, realizing how great Krishna is and how insignificant we are. It is not that Krishna needs our glorification or our service. He already has everything. We have to, it's in our interest to glorify Krishna and engage in devotional service steadily. Nityukta upasate. In that way one can actually upasate, properly worship Krishna. Therefore, we hear about these activities of Krishna and his devotees because Krishna and his devotees are not different qualitatively. There is a difference in quantity, but a pure devotee like Dhruva Maharaj especially, and is an instrument for Krishna, showing us what is the path for self-realization. Of course, Dhruva Maharaj, he underwent great austerity for 6 months to achieve Krishna. But the austerity itself wasn't the point. The point is he was trying to get something from Krishna. The austerities are superficial compared to his, they only serve to help him concentrate his mind on Krishna. to want such a thing as a kingdom greater than their great-grandfather, when your father is Uttanapada, the ruler of the world, your grandfather is Swayambhuva Manu, the ruler of the universe, and your great-grandfather is Lord Brahma, who possesses the whole universe. When you want a kingdom greater than your great-grandfather, and everything belongs to him, then you really have to focus your mind a lot. Obviously, if we wanted to buy a building in say even in New York right now, it only costs a few $1 billion, we'd have to focus our minds quite a bit with great determination to collect the money. And probably after some years or some days or weeks, we get discouraged. Our mind would go somewhere else. The mind would say, you're working so hard for this. Why don't you relax? Why are you looking for something so difficult to get? Get something easier. So we can imagine sitting there alone in Vrindavan forest and nothing to eat. And you're fasting for the first, well, you're eating every third day some kapita fruit, which doesn't sound so bad. And you're bathing in the Jamuna and chanting Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudeva. But the second month it gets a little bit more difficult, eating leaves that fall from trees every 6 days. Might get a little discouraging because your object of meditation, you're meditating on Krishna, but for the goal of getting a kingdom greater than that of your great-grandfather, but it seems so far away. No kingdom is coming to you. You're not even getting a little cottage. You don't even have a little cottage. You just have some little deity there that you made yourself. That's the only thing you have. And then the third month, you're only drinking water every 9th day. You might get thirsty after a while. And then for the 4th month, you're only taking some water, some air every 12th day. And then for the 5th month, you stop breathing. I feel a little choked up after some time. And then the last month, Dhruva Maharaj, he stood on one leg, closed all the doors of his senses, and meditated upon Vishnu in his heart. So he was so determined. And finally Vishnu came, Prishnigarbha, and Dhruva Maharaj got his reward. So that's called determined, Drita Vrata. Now, of course, we're not about to do that in this age. You could try and see how far you can go. Try the first month. Find some fruit. Every third day, just eat an apple. And then the next month would be a little bit more difficult. Only eat leaves that fall from trees in your backyard every 6th day. Around here, you might go a little hungry. You might develop some hunger pains after some time. You may not make it. But certainly that the idea is not that I'm fasting, I'm only eating fruit, I'm so hungry, I'm meditating on my hunger day and night. When is this going to end? But Dhruva Maharaj wasn't thinking about what he was eating, he was thinking about Krishna. And the more he concentrated his mind upon Krishna, the more he became detached from his material body and was not bothered by any material circumstance. So we can't imitate Dhruva Maharaj, but we could try to chant our rounds in such a way that we actually call out for Krishna. And if we remember Krishna, if remembrance of Krishna comes spontaneously, then gradually we'll become detached from material experience. And janma karma chame divyam evam ye vyovati tatvataha tyaktva punarjanma naitimam eti sorjana. And then we'll be able to understand what Dhruva Maharaj was doing. Otherwise, for a materialist, hearing about these austerities for a child 5 years old sounds like child abuse. Dhruva Maharaj went into the forest. They would have arrested his parents nowadays. Probably they would have been looking for Narada Muni to arrest him too. And Dhruva Maharaj, they would have taken into child protective custody, at least in America, put him in an institution, had him psychoanalyzed and given him drugs and come back, bring him back to normality. Force fed him. Because there's no conception of what the purpose of life is in modern society. Therefore, we have to hear about Dhruva Maharaj, what he did as our example, rather than trying to take some example from the mundane heroes of modern society. And try to, at least in our own way, become determined to become Krishna conscious. Then, the more we become conscious of Krishna, then the more we'll be able to understand how Dhruva Maharaj actually was able to accomplish what he did. How, if one is actually on the spiritual platform, one is not disturbed by any material circumstance. Otherwise, it becomes very hard to understand. Just like Kulavekar Sridhar. Has anyone here ever been to the Jagannath Temple in Mayapur? So right near the Jagannath Temple in Mayapur was the hut of Kulavekar Sridhar. Kola is banana. Vecha means seller of bananas. So he was selling bananas in Bengal. If you go to Bengal, Bengal is full of bananas. If you walk down the street, probably a banana will fall down and hit you on the head. So it's not a high class. It's not a very productive business selling bananas in Bengal. There's a lot of competition. But he was selling bananas, banana leaves, banana flowers, banana bark. So he wasn't making a whole lot of money. The only thing he got to eat was bananas. And he was living in a house which practically didn't have a roof, a little cottage with no roof on it. But day and night he was chanting Hare Krishna. So at night when he was chanting Hare Krishna, then the neighbors thought, this Kulavekar Sridhar, what a rascal he is. Because he doesn't worship Durga, therefore he's not making any money. Because he's not making any money, he's not getting enough food, and all night he's howling out of hunger pains. So if he doesn't stop howling out of hunger pains, we're going to lift up his cottage and throw him and his cottage into the river Ganges so he can get some peace at night. So the materialists, that's their conception, that the devotees are going through so much austerity, they're just wasting their time. They're chanting because they're mindless. They have no brains, so they keep on repeating the same thing over and over again because they have no other expression. They have no way of expressing themselves. So that you ask them any question, they say Hare Krishna. They have no other answer for anything else. Therefore, people misunderstand. They can't conceive of. And therefore, Krishna says, Yani Sha Sarvabhutanam Tasyam Jagrati Samyami Yasya Tragrati Bhutani Sani Shapashuto Mune. What is night for all sentient beings is the time of awakening for the self-control. What is night for the self-control is the time of awakening for all sentient beings. So for the materialists, under the material nature, there's nothing beyond matter in the three modes. And therefore they think that the transcendentalist is simply imagining and dreaming. They took one LSD trip too much. They never came back. And for the spiritualist who's actually on the spiritual platform, then they think that they see the materialist as simply living in a dreamland of material existence. Well, actually, they're spiritual beings. They should be engaged in devotional service. So they're never going to agree with each other. So we think, well, we want to be friends with the materialists. We want them to appreciate what we're doing. Then we're just going to waste their time. They'll never appreciate what we're doing because that's why they're materialists, because they don't appreciate what we're doing. And if we try to get them, be too much interested in getting them to appreciate what we're doing or try to appreciate what they're doing, then we'll also become materialists. Whatever we appreciate, that's what we're going to become. So one should understand what's the difference between a pure devotee like Dhruva Maharaj and an ordinary mundane personality, however exalted they may be in the material estimation. In the material estimation, if one has strength and riches and power and reputation, etc., one is considered to be very in a very auspicious position. And if one is poverty-stricken, sitting there in a hut in the middle of Vrindavan, surrounded by tigers and elephants and jackals and wolves and deer and no internet connection, no computer, no transportation, forgotten, no one cares about you. How unfortunate. Lost boy in the middle of the forest. Send a rescue team. Bring him out. But Dhruva Maharaj turned out to be the most fortunate person in the universe because he was under the direction of Narada Muni and he learned how to concentrate his mind upon Krishna. So we should also try to concentrate our minds upon Krishna by the processes given to us. And although in the material estimation, our relatives will say, oh, you're so unfortunate, you become a fool, they brainwashed you. And our response is, at least we have a brain left to wash. So in that way, we should try to understand the difference between materialistic advancement and spiritual advancement, not get carried away by the so-called modern propaganda of what's actually advancement and what's actually not advancement. Otherwise, the whole society is destined, practically speaking, to take birth in the lowest species of life. So if they think that's glorifiable, then that's up to them. If today I'm a multi-billionaire and tomorrow I'm going to be a dog in someone's house, then what is the value of getting my name in the newspaper? Maybe I'll be born in the house of a billionaire. I'll get my face in the newspaper the next day too. Dog born to multi-billionaire. But that's not exactly the most auspicious way of spending the human form of life. So I'll stop there. Thank you. Any questions? Yes.
I want to ask, how should we see the person that seems to have good qualities, but they are materialistic?
I would say, well, we respect everyone. We understand. Yes, yasti bhakti or bhagavata kinchana. Savarganas tatra samasate sara. Mahaguna Guna Bhavatu Davato Bahi Yasyasti Bhaktir Bhagavad Akinchana. For one who's Akinchana, who has no material desires, then he attains all the good qualities of the demigods. Yasyasti Bhaktir Bhagavad Akinchana Savarganas Tatra Samasate Sura Harabhaktasi Kuto Mahaguna. But for one who's not a devotee of Krishna, Manorate Dasati Davato Bahi, they're on the mental platform, and in the course of time they'll fall deeper into the modes of nature. One doesn't have shelter of Krishna, one must be dragged away by the modes of nature. Anything else? Prabhupada gives the example of the vulture. It goes high, high in the sky, but its business is to look for some dead body on the ground. So one may acquire good qualities, but if the aim is ultimately for sense gratification, so then one will get some higher status of sense gratification. Just like I mentioned before, when I was distributing books in one airport in America, Charlotte Airport, my devotee I was living with was also one of the biggest, at that time, one of the biggest book distributors in the world. The only persons he approached to distribute books to in the airport were the most beautiful women who walked by, who were most nicely dressed. And if you watched him, you would think there was some Romeo and Juliet scene going on in the airport. So that went on for some time. Fortunately, there were enough ladies coming by that he was able to distribute a lot of books. But then one day he finally found the lady he was looking for, and that was the end of the story. So he was a great hero in Krishna consciousness until finally he found the illusory potency he was looking for, that he couldn't refuse. And they lived unhappily ever after. Anything else? Yeah.
We have yesterday we had an internet, a question from internet. Some devotee who is watching the lecture from the internet wanted to ask you something. I will repeat the question.
Okay.
So it's from Achitya Mataji. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada speaks in many places about Vedic culture in his books. I would like to ask if he expected his followers to follow these rules, regulations, and culture.
What of the Vedic culture?
Yeah.
That's what we're doing now. But we're doing it through Prabhupada's directions. The essence of the Veda, iti guyatama shastram, yomam evam asamudo, janati purushottava, sasarvavit bhajante mam, sarvabhavena bharata, iti guyatama shastram, idam yuktva maya naga, eta bhutpa buddhimasyat krita kritastra bharata. Anyone knows who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead is said to be the knower of everything, and therefore he engages himself in full devotional service. This is the most confidential part of all the Vedic scriptures. Anyone who knows this will become wise, and his endeavors will know perfection. So to follow the Vedic, the pure devotional service in Krishna consciousness, that is the highest point of the Vedas. And since we're not so qualified to always engage in pure devotional service, we follow some things of the Vedas, like especially we try to follow the culture of brahmacharya, grihastha, vanaprastha, and sannyas, so that we restrict our sense gratification. That's it. Thank you. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.